Good evening. It has just gone 7:15 on a Tuesday, so you know what that means. It means we're slightly late, and it's all my fault. I do apologise. I thought I was going to be stuck in this traffic jam for quite some time. It turns out I'd overestimated how long I would be there for. So we could have been on at 7, but we didn't want to muck you about any more than I'd already done. So we're here at 7:15. So I do apologise. But it's fine. Tuesday ticket time. And we've got Phil McGinley and we've got Regan Stevenson with us, boys. How are we doing?
Doing good, David. Doing good, eh?
Yeah, man.
Good.
Top
Good.
of the world, mate.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Now, we might be just 15 minutes late, but it appears that we were very, very late on Sunday because, unfortunately, there was a bit of a mishap with the links being deleted online. So, basically, a couple of the guys that might be doing post-match pitch were unable to then do it, so therefore we decided we would just not bother and do it tonight instead. This would be the Tuesday ticket. It would be a sort of a post-match piss show for all you guys. But when we deleted the StreamYard link first, you're meant to delete the YouTube link and then the StreamYard link. So that's our fault. So we do apologise if you're hanging about. But hopefully you've all got to have a little chin wag in the comment section talking about the game. But we're going to do it for you now. So, but before we do that, of course, get all that good stuff out of the way. Give us a like. Give us a share, subscribe to us on YouTube, become a Voice Boss member for a small cost of $1.99. All our content is free. However, this is just if you'd like to support the bus and keep the wheels on the road. And of course, big shout out to piesports.com, your tasty treats for a 12.5% off discount at the checkout with bus 1888. So now that that's all out of the way, we can discuss the game on Sunday. All three of us were at the game. First time I've been at Celtic Park for quite some time, so that was good. And I even managed to bring along my friend Cola, who is not a Celtic fan. However, maybe I've converted her. She more follows English football, but she'd never been to Celtic Park, and she was rather surprised. She was actually pleasantly surprised by the size of the stadium, the atmosphere, which was still good, and even in the Falkirk fans, they brought some atmosphere as well. So it was a good experience for her, and I'm sure it was a good experience for everyone else that was at the game. Phil, you were there as always, and Regan, I believe you were there as well.
I was.
Did you enjoy the match experience?
I did. I thought Falkirk were one of the best teams we played this season. As Brendan Rodgers said, I felt like they were really played well. I thought it's probably the first time that Schmeichel's actually been called into action a few times as well, and obviously I thought the first one that they scored, I thought it was just a great goal. I don't know what you guys thought, but I just thought he struck the ball too quick for Schmeichel to try and get up to it. But I'm just glad that we finally got the win, because it was getting to 20 minutes to go. As I said to you guys, it was getting to 20 minutes to go, and I'm like, oh no, this could get a bit embarrassing here. But it just shows you the strength of squad that we've got, because Brendan Rodgers made 4 substitutes at one time. I think I'm right in saying that. I brought Taylor, Engels.
Jumped the gun a bit here, Regan, but yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Well, I am glad that we got the victory, and I'm just I'm glad that we're in the semi-final. But Aberdeen will be a very tricky match.
Certainly will, mate. But we'll start at the beginning. Phil, what was your feeling when you first read the lineup? I know how I felt. I was expecting changes. I was probably expecting as many as we did, to be fair, but I still couldn't help but kind of be a bit like, this could go either way here. You know, especially after a European game and you make so many changes, it could be a little bit disjointed. We've got a whole back line that haven't played together before. This could be an interesting one, and as well, of course, Falkirk have been on a very good run of form as well. So there was always that little banana skin sitting in front of me. While I was heading to the ground, I was a wee bit like, oh, this could. We'll see how it goes. I'm still confident, but this could be a bit more trickier than first expected. But what were you? How were you feeling when you first saw, especially the back four, and of course the wingers, etc.
Yeah, I think the first name that jumped out at me, and I'm sorry, just go for him right away, but Stevie Welsh hasn't played like a minute at all this season, and it's like Mike Nawrocki. I know Brendan must see him every day in training, and he can obviously run the rule better, but it does make you wonder that a guy who signed last year for like $4.5 million can't even get a game ahead of Stevie Welsh. That one stood out to me right away. I did expect changes. Like I said on Friday night when I was on with Liam, I said I did expect you maybe like 5 or something. But yeah, a whole new back line and the whole front line were all changed, although I wouldn't consider Idah a massive change. He's basically a guy that's rotatable with Kyogo. Bernardo is rotatable with anybody in the middle of the park. So they two, no worries there. James Forrest showed last season at the tail end he's still got something to offer, no problem there. Palma, who I think we're going to talk about in great length tonight, because he has a brunt of a lot of the anger from the performance, because there was a lot of negatives as well. It did change massively when the subs were made. We're talking about the title of the show tonight, about the squad game and who got the green light and whatnot. I think a few people didn't take their chance, and obviously Luis Palma is definitely one of them. I think his performance had a little knock-on effect essentially on the guy behind him, Alex Vallier.
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So that's all. It all kind of ties together. It should have been. Obviously, in the end, we got there, and the last half an hour was excellent. Obviously, when I was gone, but yeah, it should have been a routine victory, and we did kind of make it a bit harder than needs to be. But also, as Vika says, credit to Falkirk, they did come and give us a goal, but at the same time, we should still, have made it a bit easier than what we did. But we'll talk about it in great length tonight.
Absolutely. Ian McIntosh comes in straight away and says most of these players would look okay slotting into an unchanged side. I do find it difficult to argue with that. I think that's a fair point. If, we still had the main core of our starting lineup that we saw maybe playing on Wednesday night there, and then maybe say Idah came out and then you put Palma in. Maybe not seen such a maybe disappointing performance from him. We'll never know, but that's maybe the kind of the theory that Ian McIntosh is going down. Same as Stephen Welsh, perhaps. Maybe if you had Cameron Carr-Vickers and Taylor at either side of him, he might have felt maybe a little less, or would have looked a bit more convincing than maybe that we saw. But that's not what we saw. We've seen quite a massive change going into this game. Like I said, a full back four that, as far as I'm aware, have never played together. Like I said, dropping Stephen Welsh in after being in the abyss for so long and expecting a 10 out of 10 performance out of him is maybe harsh. However, like Phil says, this is the opportunity these guys have been presented to remind the manager that they have a part to play this season. And unfortunately, the likes of Palma and Stephen Welsh, and I don't want to beat Welsh with a stick. However, they didn't take the chance. I think they were the main frustrated points from the game. Touch on Valley or Vale or however you want to say his name. Phil's right. I think it wasn't the best performance. I think we can maybe forgive him for playing. Obviously, it's his debut game. His debut game at home as well as away. It's his first ever appearance for Celtic in a good cup tie, playing behind a very out of form, and I don't want to say lack of confidence playing Palma. I think the boys maybe got a little bit too much confidence in his ability, and that then obviously rubbed off on him, because the way I was looking at it, Regan, was there looked as if there was very little communication going on between those two. There was almost a bit of bickering going on from what I could see, with Palma saying, well, you should be here, and he's saying, well, you should be there, and it just looked very, very disjointed. It was very obvious that these boys had not played together.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Brendan Rodgers needs to work on as well. That's probably something that he underestimated before the game, but probably when he looks back at it, he probably says to himself, this wasn't a good idea. There's probably too many changes. Like Phil was saying there, he probably should have made maybe 5, maybe 6 at the most, but because he made 8, everybody in the team wasn't in tandems, so that's kind of where he probably said to himself, that's something that I need to learn. But also, like you said about Palma, David, I think sometimes, I don't think there's a tactical brain in there. I think sometimes he just goes out there and just does whatever he wants.
Mm.
You know what?
That's fair.
This is something that I can watch from the sideline. I just feel like if you look at Brendan Rodgers, he speaks to a lot of the players during the match, and Palmer doesn't seem to be somebody that he really speaks to and offers tactical instructions and stuff like that. So I just don't know if he knows that Palmer's on borrowed time at Celtic, and he knows that he's tried his best with him, and probably he's not going to make it, because I know it's Falkirk, but even off it's not even on the ball, David. It's off the ball. It's like see when he loses the ball, he's not running hard to try and get the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's sort of jogging.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
He's sort of jogging. He's not interested. He sort of reminds me of somebody that's just there to do a party trick once in a while, or set up a goal at the end of the season when everybody's enjoying themselves. I mean, he scored that goal to make us win 3-2 against St Mirren at the end of the season. People were thinking, oh, this is going to be great for him, a brand new season. But then if you contrast that with somebody that we wanted to an Arnold with, and Nicholas, who joined in January from Rapid Vienna, you see the levels that he's brought into the team. It's been unbelievable. I mean, see for pre-season, he's totally kicked on, and that's the biggest example I can see there. Brendan Rodgers knows that he's got a player to work with in Nicholas, but I think with Palma, he's not got that same trajectory.
I think Phil, Regan made a good point there. He said that he doesn't seem interested. I want to say he is interested, but he's only interested in the name on the back of the shirt and not the name on the front of the shirt. He seems to be, and maybe I'm doing him a disservice here, but it just appears that he is more bothered about his personal ambitions opposed to maybe the club's. And maybe it's harsh to judge him when you're pairing him up against his counterpart, which is Idah. When you see the work rate that Idah puts on. Now, I want to put point. There was a time where a lot of fans struggled to get on board with Idah because of the lack of maybe the ability being shown at the time. However, there was always an argument made that people couldn't deny, and maybe people forgave, was there was no lack of trying. To win the ball. If it wasn't going his way, he didn't take a strop. He would just shake it off and keep going and try again. And he was always doing what the manager had instructed him. You can't see the same for Palma from where we're sitting in the stands and obviously watching on telly. It just doesn't look like that same effort is being shown for the team. And maybe that's why we're judging him so. I don't want to say harshly because I don't think it's harsh to say that we're not seeing the same level of commitment to the club or the team that maybe others have shown. Even, and I don't want to jump ahead too far, but even when Yang came on, I felt again we know he's struggled to inform and maybe convince fans of his level and ability for the club. You can't deny the boys' effort for the team. Back to Palma. I don't know if he's got much fight in him to get in the manager's thought process to be playing him more. And if he does, he's certainly going away. He's going the wrong way about it, Phil.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. I wouldn't question his commitment necessarily. He obviously cares, but maybe he cares a bit too much. And it does feel like, and I understand where you're coming from, he is playing a different game from the rest of the team. He's playing his game rather than what the rest of the team are trying to do. Again, football is a simple game. It's simple. Pele said years ago, football is a simple game, the beautiful game and all that. And he's making it overcomplicated with extra step overs and trying to beat men that he's not got the pace to beat. With the way we've played, obviously, under Brendan over the last, year and a bit, it's very much possession based. It's like, if you can't beat a man, then obviously just, we pass it sideways a lot. We do. Let's be honest. It's all about ball retention, tire the other team out. And it's like, just if he's not going to beat a guy, then don't overcomplicate it. Just find the open player near him with a Celtic shirt on, just pass it to him, and we'll just recycle the play and go round again. Yeah, it can be frustrating to watch, but it's better than that than try to take a guy on and then just losing the ball. And then we're on the defensive. So it does feel like he is playing to a different sort of tactic that the rest of the team are when he's on the ball. There's so many times on Sunday where he was getting on, he was trying to cut inside and just going for extra passes, extra step overs, try to get a shot away when there's guys open near him. And it's like, it was a complete, it was a terrible fault. Of all the guys who had a chance given to them, he was one of the ones I was looking at like, well, okay, you showed in wee spells last season that there is something there. His numbers clearly stacked up. There's been plenty of times we brought Palma up on this show, and in the comments, there's usually, in terms of his numbers last season, will get mentioned somewhere. So that they are there, they do speak for themselves. So he's clearly got something there. But I don't know if it's just like he just is trying too hard, and that's the thing. Just keep it simple. The manager isn't going to be angry with you if you pass the ball sideways and we just end up, recycling play and go again. He's going to be angry, though, if you try and take a man on and we end up losing possession, which then results in a goal. That's when he'll get angry about it. So it does feel to me like he's trying too hard to impress people. And it's like, just keep it simple, man.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just don't know if he's going to be here after January, if I'm honest, Phil. I don't know if he's got the fight in him to fight for the place. I don't know if he's got the desire to fight. I think he'd probably rather move on, if I'm being honest. And again, nobody wants these players to fail in a Celtic shirt. That's absolutely not the case at all. It's a complete polar opposite. We all want them to do well. Regan, but no, I'm not going to stay on Palma much longer because there's plenty to talk about. But one other thing I would say is, I mean, what Palma was lacking in terms of pace and, et cetera, that we've already discussed, he made up with it in goal threat. I mean, there was always still a chance that he would score out of nowhere or create a goal out of nowhere. But he's not even living up to those levels that we saw last season. And I can't help but feel when I don't know what else he provides other than that. It's not like a case of, well, don't worry about his lack of goals. He's still got this in his locker, and we don't have that. But let's move on to. I want to move on to the left back. Obviously, we've seen flashes of why he was brought to the club. He got an assist, obviously, with the Bernardo, which we'll get to. But before we get to that, there was obviously. He's being blamed perhaps for the first goal. The first goal for Falkirk. It was obviously scored by Ross McIver in the 11th minute. Like you said earlier, we're going to let you touch on it more because you obviously brought it up earlier. I think it caught everybody by surprise. Would it be because, and there's an argument to be had here, which I think Brendan's obviously kind of squashed that argument, but we'll discuss it anyway, that perhaps there was a foul on the player, Valley, in the box, and perhaps maybe a lot of people were expecting the whistle to be blown because it almost looked as if, like you said, it caught Schmeichel off guard. It certainly caught me off guard. I was a bit like, I don't actually remember the incident too much, but was it for you when you seen it? Did you feel it was a foul, or did it certainly look like a foul at first? And now that you've seen it, where are you with that? Was it a case of, well, you'll get away with that in Spain, but you won't get away with it in Glasgow?
I didn't think it was at the time, but I've not watched it back, David. But yeah, I just thought the striker took the shot very early, which caught everybody off guard. But I just think as well he needs to be stronger. But also, Brendan Rodgers made a good point on Sunday as well when he spoke to the media, saying that I'm only going to know these players are good players if I can play them. So I think it's as we said last week. That was the perfect match to throw him in. I mean, we're all here on Tuesday night, and for one of the game of Wednesday, and people were saying, maybe he'll throw Valley in on Wednesday, but it just shows you Greg Taylor's such an important call to that team. As much as Canada's favourite Tim won't be impressed with me saying that, he'll probably be on the WhatsApp tonight, wanting to talk to me. But yeah, I mean, in terms of that, I think it just shows you how important Greg Taylor is. You know, I think Greg Taylor's improved massively this season. I'm not a Greg Taylor cheerleader before anybody accused me of it, but I think it just when he came on the park, I just felt a sense of assurance when he came on. But I don't think we should judge this guy too early. I mean, you guys will know the most favourite Celtic player ever started off with a bad debut, and he ended pretty well for him.
Yeah, Henrik.
He started off with a bad defeat, and there was a famous thing where people said, "Well, this guy's not going to be very good," and then he ended up pretty good, didn't he?
So bad, yeah. Imagine social media at that time.
Exactly.
God.
So yeah, I mean, I think we'll touch on it later on, but I think even more modern cases of that is even just a case of like even Kuhn, for example. I mean, we are very and it's our gift to do so. It's every Celtic fan and every football fan of their team are quick to judge their new players. It's just what we do. Some people are better than others at being a bit more patient. I, for one, can be a bit rash in my decision making sometimes. I think it's just like I said. It's our gift to do it. We're a passionate bunch. I'm reserving judgment just now. Yes, he frustrated me. I was putting a lot of that blame onto Palma. But there was obviously cases, Phil, where I did feel like, right, this boy needs to get up to speed and get used to the more physical aspects of the game. You can't he go down every 2 minutes like they do in La Liga. La Liga is so notoriously bad for the whistle being blown for absolutely everything. He's not going to get that here, and he'll need to. And it's a steep learning curve, and I'm sure he'll learn from his experience against Falkirk. That the right winger they had, I can't remember his name, gave him a torrid time. He was a big boy, that guy, big athletic lad. So, I mean, baptism by fire, no, but it certainly was a wake up call for him in terms of what he should expect from majority of the opposition here in terms of physicality. But like I said, there was glimpses, Phil, of why he was brought to the club. And of course, that would be the quite clever wee knock on for Palma's Rasper.
Bernardo's Rasper.
Who did I say?
Yeah.
Palma
definitely didn't.
Palma had a different. Palma had a few other Raspers, but sorry, Bernardo's Rasper. Let's talk about that goal, Phil. Let's talk about that. It was just beautiful. I have to say, it was lovely. It was a great goal.
It was a thunder bastard from close range, mate. He absolutely put his laces right through that. And that the funny bit was, it was right at the keeper. It wasn't like to the corner, but the keeper had no chance of stopping it. It was the power he generated on that, a proper net buster of a shot, man. And to be fair, remember he scored one against Rangers as well from a similar distance, and it looked like a net buster. So he's very good at generating that power with very little backlift. But no, it was a great finish. And yeah, Alex Valier does get the knock on, so it does show that he's got a bit of an attacking prowess to him, getting forward and getting into the right positions. But yeah, he does get the assist in the end for it. But overall, with Valier, like, I'm kind of mixed on it. Like, I don't think it was a foul on that goal. I think it was a bit of weak play, but I don't hold Valier completely responsible. I think, as you said, I think everybody in the team's waiting for a whistle. The midfield don't track back. Trusty doesn't expect it. And I'll have to slightly disagree here with Regan saying he got away too quickly. I think the boy had too much time because, again, all of our team just stood still. The guy had all the time in the world. The keeper had all the time to just run up and just put his laces through that, put it down the bottom corner.
Nobody closed them down at all, Phil.
Nobody did. We're all waiting for that whistle. And, of course, in the second goal as well, where Valier goes down, holding his face again, I think everybody's just waiting on a whistle. When Finn Yeats, I believe it was, that scored the goal. Again, it's not even a powerful header, but again, if Michael just stands there and watches it go past him, and again, I think they're all with Russell. In fact, they all ran after the referee when the goal went in for the second one. So again, this is like, it's such routine stuff where play to the whistle. Play to it. If it doesn't come, then you keep playing, you stay alert. And even though Valli, I think, could do better on both of them, and he's got a bit better upper body strength, the other players around him, the more seasoned pros, they've got to stay alert. And I do think that a few players need to take some blame on both goals, not just Alex Valli, who did cop a lot of the flack. Again, just a lot of players just switched off. I don't know if it was just because of the come down from Wednesday night or whatnot, or just guys who've just been getting a game and not played together. But yeah, it's like, come on, guys, you need to be more alert to these. And if the whistle doesn't come, you keep playing. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we need to remember this guy's actually not got that much experience of first team football, and you've got a much more experienced player in Trusty next to him. So yeah, when you've got a young player like that making his debut, and I know Trusty was technically making his debut as well. I know he came on for a little bit at the end on Wednesday night, but these more experienced players should be there to kind of almost. So for Valli to almost lean on in these sort of situations, and obviously it didn't happen. But mistakes are made, and obviously it didn't end up costing us in the end overall. And hopefully these mistakes will be learned from, because that's what mistakes are there for to do. Let's move on. So obviously the game, again, Regan, Falkirk obviously came and they decided to play. They decided to play football. Was that surprising to you, Regan, that the approach that Falkirk took? I mean, I hadn't watched any of Falkirk at all. I know that they had been on a decent run of form. I think they'd won their league. Was it last year that they got promoted?
Yeah, they're still on
invincible season.
They're 43 matches unbeaten.
Yeah, 43 matches unbeaten. So of course, you're coming up against a team on a plenty of confidence and good form, with a really good away support that had, really brought a really good cup game atmosphere. Perfect recipe for a good cup game, and they decided to play their game and trust their process, and for the most part it was working. Regan, so of course they get the second goal just before half time. What was going through your head at that moment? Because I wasn't angry, I wasn't annoyed, I was just disappointed, I was just frustrated that I was just like, here, I'm cursed. Every time I come here, this happens. I need to stop coming. That was what was going through my head, Regan. I was like, I'll just not be allowed back. I just need to just accept that I'm not allowed back at Celtic Park, because this is all my fault. And I had to apologise to people around me. I was like, this is my fault. I'll just go. But what was going through your head at that moment? Were you panicking, or were you quite chilled? You were like, it's fine.
No, I was quite chilled, David. I thought we'd still do well in the second half. Obviously, I thought the reaction to the third goal was brilliant. I felt it was just like everybody was so happy to score that third goal. I mean, sometimes you just need to see that fair play to these clubs for coming and trying, because, like you said, they actually played a good bit of football. But I thought if you look back and you analyse the Hearts and the Kilmarnocks, the Hibs this season, all of these clubs have came to Celtic Park and they've pardon the bus, essentially. They've put 10 men behind the ball, they've held a shot and goal, but it was sort of refreshing to see clubs actually go to Celtic Park and have a go, because it made it for a more interesting match. I mean, and then I think it just showed our quality once we brought those players off the bench. But I think sometimes you just need to pay respect to Falkirk and say, I knew they were pretty good for the level, but I didn't realise they were that good. Brendan Rodgers probably underestimated that too. But what I did find interesting, guys, I didn't know that Brendan Rodgers actually, one of his first matches down in England was against John McGlynn's Hearts team, when David Templeton scored that goal, and he said that he knew it would be a difficult match because of the brand of football. So no, I think in terms of the match, I'm just glad that we got through and we've made a great start to the season.
And Charles Smith here is saying that David has no lucky pants. No, but I broke out the red panties when we won, Charles.
David, and I think if
Broke out the red panties with the wee
Da-
brown skiddy in the middle. What?
David, I think if you, I think if Celtic got beat 2-1 on Sunday, I don't think me and Phil would have let you go back to Celtic Park ever again.
I'd never be allowed back, mate. Almost didn't get in. Couldn't get the bloody ticket. Use your phone now. Just the QR code.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get it to work. I was panicking. It was just causing chaos at the.
Yeah, it's a bit of an elaborate process. If you're a season ticket holder, you have to hold the card up. But if you've got any other type of ticket, you have to put it in the slot. So it's like, yeah.
Oh, it was a nightmare, mate. I was just causing absolute mayhem.
A man like you, David, do you know in VIP?
No, mate. I'm no Yuri, eh? I'm not. I don't get recognised at Celtic Park and get chased in the street. I was getting chased at the door because I was just causing problems.
Yep.
I'm not in the VIP yet, mate. I'm just the riff-raff. That's it, mate. I need to sort that. I need to come with Yuri again and get the VIP treatment. Signing autographs for you, bud. That's all. Oh dear. Right, let's move on. It's ridiculous. Of course, Phil, there's been a lot of praise in the chat here of the approach that Falkirk took to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where was it. So here it is, Graham Williamson. So he says, kudos to Falkirk opening up. We need to play against expansive teams to test us. And here's Ray Jacobson. If more teams were like that, we would have a much stronger league, which in turn would help us improve in Europe. So there's the argument, Phil, made by a couple of the guys, and I have to agree with them. It certainly would be a much more stronger league and more exciting league. However, the result at the end of the day, we put 5 past them.
Yeah.
So then the other side of the coin is it's like, well, we open up, you put 5 past us because look at the gap in quality here, and so I mean, you can understand when we do understand why clubs are far more compact, the low block, etc. What's your view on that? Do you feel like, are you more on the side of going, well, if you gave it a go, look what could happen? You could put us on the back foot, you could give us a scare, or are you on the side of the, well, you opened up and look what happened, you got scudded 5-2? Where are you with that one?
I think at the end of the day, teams just need to play to their strengths, whatever they think can get them a result. We can't, as fans, have it both ways. I know that many of us will say, oh, these teams like, Dundee coming to Celtic Park and they sit with 10 men behind the ball, what's the point? And then a team like Falkirk comes to Celtic Park and opens up and suddenly everyone's shell-shocked, like, oh my God, they nearly beat us. And it's like, we can't really have it both ways. So I think a team's just going to do what they, if they're going to come and play a low block, then so be it. I know it's very topical right now in English football with what happened to Arsenal and Man City, and how they played. And it's like a team just has to do what they have to try and win the game. Falkirk came, they had a goal, they got themselves in front, and then, of course, they tried to do the low block after that because they're like, right, we're going to try and hold out here. But, of course, it was the subs that changed it and turned it all around. And that just showed the strength and depth that we've got, that we were in a bit of a pickle. And we had to obviously dig deep and get the subs on to the first team players to turn that around, which, again, we shouldn't have found ourselves in that position, but it's weird. But yeah, Falkirk, obviously, they came, they had a goal, and yeah, second half, they were doing all the classic time wasting, bit of gamesmanship and whatnot. Because again, they thought, they couldn't have maintained that for the full 90 minutes, basically, having a go. I think they would have, they got to a point where they're like in the second half before the subs, like, right. I remember just before all the subs came on, I remember they had a free kick down the other end and the boy was down for quite a while. And whatnot. And again, it's just adding more time on, although the referee only added 2 minutes at the end, which was quite mysterious. But yeah, it's a team. I'm not going to begrudge a team if they come to Celtic Park and sit with 10 men behind the ball. And if they come and have a go, fair enough. I say at the end of the day, we can't really have it both ways and moan about these teams that sit with a low block and then get a bit like, can't believe a team actually had the audacity to have a go at us, David. I know how dare they? How dare you come to Celtic Park and even try to go toe to toe with us? We can't even really have it that way. So whether a manager, it's their discretion what they want to do and how they want to set out their team. And yeah, again, Falkirk, they played well for a while, but yeah, it did all hinge on once we made the subs. the screw was turned at that point, and the levels went up quite a bit, David.
Yeah, well, just quickly before we move on, do you think they would have played that way if it was a league game?
League game would have been different because a cup game, you're in or out after it.
Aye.
So I think with the cup game, that dynamic probably added to it because you don't want to be playing for penalties. I know some teams in many competitions of your smaller teams have went to big teams and have just dug in and just hope to get a penalty shootout, but it's too much of a lottery. So I think the cup game probably did help. But I think if it's a league game, yeah, I think the dynamic is different there because that extra point, they could get a draw and get a point. That could be the difference in them staying up and going down. So every point counts for these teams. So the dynamic is different in cup games.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair play to them again. Like I said, and that's not. Like I said, we're not being patronising. I think it was a good game of football to watch. Stressful at the time for me, but once it all settled and I reflected, I was like, that was a fucking good game. Sorry, you can spare. Right, Regan. It's 2-1 at this point. Starting to get a bit antsy here. 60 minutes of absolute dross, and then we see the big guns come on. Rio Atati, who didn't have his best game on Sunday, but let's not forget he had a very good game on Wednesday. So I'm not quite subscribing to this. He's been shite. He shouldn't be playing narrative that some fans are picking up on. I think that's a weird one for me. He's the type of player that's maybe just not. He's never going to be consistent because he's that type of player that takes risks. And if they don't come off, they're highlighted more when it's no come off. Nobody complains when it's an absolute ridiculous pass that finds its way through to Kyogo or Maeda and we get a goal from it. But that being said, he did not have a good game on Sunday. I'm going to put that down to a European hangover for him personally. But he came off for Arne Engels, and of course Louis Palma came off for Jan. I'm going to say his full name. James Forrest came off for Nicholas Kuhn, and Alex Valley came off for Greg Taylor. So the big guns were called upon. I think regardless of what the result was at that time, I think we would have seen these boys come on eventually. Anyway, Regan, maybe later than planned. However, they came on and the game was turned on its head by the likes of Nicholas Kuhn, who really brought some real needed energy and confidence and just injected a bit of pace onto the wings. And he alone, you could argue, was the main reason why that game changed its head. Of course, I know he got 2 goals and obviously so did Adam Idah. However, I think he was the main point of change, and that's when we've really seen us come alive. Let's talk through the first goal. Regan. Obviously, Kuhn creates a great chance and crosses straight across the face goal for a tap-in for Adam Idah. I didn't see it because somebody chose to go to the toilet and stood right in front of me as it happened. So I missed that. I had to watch it on the screen. However, that guy missed the second goal when he went because he was in the toilet for too long. So get up, yeah, standing in my way. Regan, let's talk about the first goal.
I think it just shows the great injection that he's brought into the game. I felt like Brendan Rodgers said at the weekend that people that have pre-seasons under him really benefit, and I think that's something you can see with him. He's had a full season now. A full season under Brendan Rodgers. He's had a pre-season now, and he understands fully what Brendan Rodgers requires from him. He knows exactly where he's supposed to be. And I think the big thing for me is, see, when a player that comes on, he presses the game well, and that then means that the whole team presses better. And then you manage to see that, because as soon as we get that second goal back, it's then that kind of reaction to go, right, we're not accepting this, we're going straight for it. I think it was like a minute and 30 seconds straight after we get that first goal. So I think it just pays off when you get these big players on, that we can have that impact, and that's the kind of impact that he was brought in to have. I mean, I know he went through a bit of trouble at the start of his Celtic career, but you would now need to say that he's become one of Brendan Rodgers kind of reliable kind of players now. He's the kind of guy that he kind of relies on. I go back to Wednesday night when I was there. I felt he was really good then as well. I felt Alistair Jones was really good as well. So I think these are players that Brendan Rodgers trusts now. And I think it was you, David, on Tuesday that said, or maybe it was Phil that said that you guys think that Idah could be the last of the bunch to stay.
That was Phil. Yeah,
Phil, and I tend to agree with that because I feel like those guys, they're not just they don't just turn it on once in a blue moon like a loose Palma. Every time they go on the pitch, they make an impact. It's even if it's not the best quality, they press hard, they train hard, they set good examples. I mean, there was even a point on Wednesday where Idah tracks the full length of the pitch when we are 5-2 up, and it's those kind of players that you need to be able to do that. So I'm just glad that he's able to make an impact in the game now, and he's somebody that Brendan Rodgers can really trust.
I mean, Nicholas Kuhn has become that guy, Regan, and I think we have to also we need to use that as him as an example of maybe just need to let the guys. Not everybody's going to hit the ground running, but he was very clear on as to why he felt he didn't hit the ground running, and a lot of it was to do with the teeth surgery and the loss of weight and the lack of pre-season under the manager, yada yada yada, and that's now kind of been solidified and legitimised by what we're seeing now, and he's pretty much saying, "Oh, I told you, I told you so. I wasn't in my peak physical ability, in terms of like weight, muscle mass, game time. But now I have got it. This is the real me, and now you're reaping the rewards of that. And he's certainly reaping the rewards of that. He's I can't remember how many goal contributions he's got so far, but he's doing brilliantly. And then of course, like we see the second from the second Idah goal to put us ahead. I mean, that was the perfect example of what I think we expect to see from our wingers. The press, to steal the ball, to create the chance, to get the ball through to the striker, who Idah puts away brilliantly. Did really well, Phil, to shrug off the two defenders, get through the middle of them, and then to beat the goalkeeper. I mean, there was a point where you could say, well, it looks like Idah perhaps is maybe struggling a little bit with this price tag above his head, and maybe there's a lack of confidence there. Not anymore. I think even the goal that was ruled offside was the catalyst to the going, right, that's it. I mean, it didn't count, but I've got the ball in the back of the net. I was onside. That's me up and running in his mind. And then, of course, the goals have been coming. He got the goal in the Champions League, and then he's got 2 goals on Sunday. Let's talk through that particular goal, Phil, because that's when obviously it was like bang bang, 2 jabs to the face, and suddenly he's Falkirk on the back foot with bloodied the nose now. Go for the killer. Boxing reference there for you after that. Don't even watch boxing, but unlucky. What's his name?
Joshua.
Aye, Joshua. Ooh, unlucky Shane. Stay humble.
But the goal from what was meant to be a quite low key Sunday afternoon cup game against a lower league team, when that goal went in, the noise that could have been like a goal against Rangers or a goal on a European night. That was a proper like release. I don't know if it was just the fans were just relieved that it happened. Just thank God. But no, there was it felt like a proper bit of needle in the air when that goal went in. I think it was just because of the suddenness of it. He nutmegs the defender and nutmegs the goalkeeper to score it. So it's some good technique there. And as you say, he shrugs off. He goes through between 2 defenders, and the finish was just so sudden. The fans just absolutely erupted, and I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted. I mean, Idah last season proved his worth. Came in under a bit of a cloud. Most fans were like, "What the hell is this?" Like, because obviously there was a lot of anger and animosity at the end of the January window. And unfortunately, the boy was catching strays as a result because he had nothing to do with the way Celtic conducted their business. He's brought in. A lot of fans were like, a guy on loan for Norwich with no option to buy. What are we even doing this for? But no, he came in, he scored some important goals, and then that goal in the cup final, he's a made man forever. But yeah, he comes back now. I think the price tag, I think he believes in himself. I think he backs himself. So I think the price tag he probably relishes. But yeah, I think I'd raised that at the time on one of the Friday night shows I did with Mick and Liam, where I'd asked that, saying, you think the 8.5 million could rise to 9.5 million, which at the time would have made him a most expensive acquisition until Engels signed. Do you think he'll be maybe daunted by that? But he does seem like a really confident guy, and he does back his ability. He's addressed the whole thing about the way some of the fans, treated him when he arrived. Not treated him, but the feeling around the place when he arrived. And I think he even thought then, I'll show you, I'll prove you. And how many of us were absolutely clamouring for it to sign full time in the summer. We were absolutely begging for it. And yeah, I think he'll go on and score quite a fair decent amount of goals this season. Because him and Kyogo, I don't want to say that one is going to become the outright number one. I think it's going to be a case of, it's going to be a rotation policy for who we're playing. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you could pick anybody next Tuesday against Dortmund. How Brendan wants to go about it. Does he want a guy up front that's going to just try and run the Dortmund defenders around a wee bit like Kyogo would? Or are we going to need a big target man up there to hold the ball up? So it gives Brendan options, 2 different options. So yeah, he's going to get a fair amount of games. He's going to get a fair amount of goals this season. And say that goal, that wee brace that he got at the weekend, do his confidence a world of good. And see the third goal when it went in, absolute eruption in the stands. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was
brilliant,
great.
Brilliant moment.
You can tell he just loves it. Oh, yeah. Proper scenes.
Aye, it was.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell he loves it too. Like, I mean, he absolutely loves playing for the club, and that's obviously an important part of being a Celtic striker. Sam from Celtic says he can see Idah starting on Tuesday. I have to agree with that. I think he will. Dortmund away. I think he epitomises everything that Rodgers has said that he wants and needs for these Champions League games. Big, quick, powerful, and of course he'll be full of confidence after his goals in the previous Champions League fixture and obviously against Falkirk, as we've just discussed. So yeah, I think Regan, I think it's a fair shout that he probably will start. Not for any other reason that I'm not for any reason that Kyogo shouldn't start. He's not good enough to start or anything like that. But I think Idah brings what is necessary to go to Germany away and play a team the likes of Dortmund. Quickly, before we move on, how are you feeling about the Dortmund game, Regan? And if we do go with Adam Idah up top, is that the right decision for you?
I think it would be, because it'll be a kind of physical battle. Because a lot of people go, well, they're no kind of, they're no the top team in Europe, but they still got to the Champions League final last year, and I didn't watch the final because I was out that night. But I mean, by all accounts, they had big chances to go a few goals up. So I think I think he would be the perfect option. But I don't know if Brendan Rodgers would do that to Kyogo. I just feel like that's his lineup. I think he'll go with the Kyogo, Maeda, and Kuhn. I think that's what he'll go with next week.
Really? Well, you think? Why do you think that? Sorry because Kyogo, he wouldn't do that to Kyogo. What do you mean by that? I just think he would want to ruffle the feathers there. I don't think. No, I don't think Rodgers. Sorry, on you go, mate. On you go.
I just don't feel like he would. He would do that. I know we've seen it in games against Rangers where he played Dembele instead of Lee Griffiths, but I might be proved wrong, David. I hope I'm proved wrong, because I wanted it to start, but I just don't think Brendan will start Adam Idah next week.
I mean, I could see either or start, but I don't think Rodgers would pick his striker based on worrying that he's going to upset Kyogo. I think Rodgers is a bit more ruthless in that, and I mean, well, that's we'll wait and see. But I do think it's this game's calling for an Adam Idah start. And don't get me wrong, Kyogo scored obviously on Wednesday there, but I mean he didn't know much about it off him, and bit of a hat off his stomach. He went in and he missed a fair few, really easy chances. Well, I don't say easy chances, but chances you'd expect him to take. Yeah. And I think that'll be playing a bit in the mind of Rodgers when picking his striker for next.
I think that's a good point you make. Sorry to jump in there, David, but I think that's a good point you make in terms of Brendan Rodgers has got a good option there in terms of it's a great problem to have, and I think in terms of being able to mix it up as well, because both of the strikers offer totally different things, and I do think Idah is made for a dominant away, so I do think that would be a good option, but I just get the feeling that Brendan Rodgers will pick Kyogo.
Fair enough, mate. I mean, we could sit here and have that debate all night because either or would suit me fine.
Well, we'll be doing the pre-show next Tuesday before the Dortmund game because it's an 8 o'clock kickoff next week, isn't it?
Oh, there you go then.
So we can discuss the team then because we'll have the team lineup next Tuesday. So
there's James Kennedy. There's James Kennedy saying Kyogo will start. Right, quickly in the chat, who's starting for you? Or in fact, not for you personally. Who do you think's going to start? Is it going to be Kyogo or Idah? Just start firing that in the comment section. We've still got another goal to go through. I believe. Yep, Nicholas Kuhn scored 2 more goals, didn't he? After that, yep. Arnie Engels, Phil.
Oh yes,
boy, just oozes class, doesn't he?
Oh, fantastic!
Just oozes it, mate. He's just strutting about like some model. Just like again, use the ball, pass it. We smile at the camera there. Use the ball.
So, I saw somebody on
there's
Twitter
an assist.
David saw someone on Twitter describe him as a regen of Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, that FIFA terminology there, is that what I was doing? But I don't know if he's Kevin De Bruyne level just yet, but some player, good player though.
But good player to bases. I mean, he seems to be in with that crowd, didn't he? Like I think he was getting compliments off KVDB the other night on international duty. But he just oozes coolness and class and just cool. He's just cool, mate. Like use a penalty. I'll take it. Like fucking get out. That's just good. I'm loving him, man. He's just strolling through games, and I think like that. I mean, you get what you pay for, eh?
Yeah,
you get what you pay for. I mean, it's what more can you say about the guy? Great assist for Kuhn's second one. I think it was that one when he broke through.
The first one was the one where he broke through and chipped him. The second one was the wee half volley, hit him and Idah on the edge of the area, and it just sat up for him. But Idah stood in front of him and got out of the way, and he volleyed it in. Yeah.
One more to say on it, mate. It was just fucking class. There's your top level punditry from yours truly. That's just what you're 1 out of 9. Gets you. Just me sitting there going, he's fucking class. What else is there to say?
Engels is great, and again, what you pay for. Imagine that Celtic going out and spending big to get a Matt O'Reilly replacement rather than the usual recycle it, go 2 million again, and hope that a player turns into a Matt O'Reilly level. Why don't you go and pay a decent amount for what we usually pay to get a ready-made one that you know is going to be? And he's came in, he's looked a cool head in the middle. He's only going to keep getting better. Hopefully he can be a consistent penalty taker, because I'm not getting too excited on the penalty thing, because we know how this goes. A player gets a turn for a wee while until they miss, and then they give somebody else a shot. So we're usually garbage at penalties. I'm not going to get too excited at that, but hopefully he's going to break that trend and he's going to be excellent at them. Hopefully
his technique looks brilliant. That one in the Champions League, man, he totally didn't keep it the wrong way.
Yeah,
it was just on your cell, mate. That's
big pressure on Shankland. It was big pressure, mate. But again, he looks great, and to see he was involved in the goal for Nicholas Kuhn for the first one, and just once he was through on goal, again you were just but a few months ago it's weird because again we would have been like you wouldn't know what Nicholas Kuhn was going to do a few months ago. But the way he's played this season, when he was getting through, you just knew what was going to happen, and just composed, cool as you like, dinks it over the goalkeeper. And yeah, that was it. That was it at that point. Once we get a 2-goal margin, I mean, Falkirk really did fall away once we got ahead. The momentum had completely shifted and they knew they were beaten. But when we went 4-2 up, 2-goal margin with 10 minutes to go, whatever, 15 minutes left, you kind of knew that's a game-setting match. But just for the fun of it, we just added another one as well. Another tidy finish by Nicholas Kuhn. 2 assists and 2 goals, I believe. That was 4 goal involvements in half an hour. And again, it's food for thought. Considering some people who did get a start and what they contributed, and there's Kuhn coming on in half an hour and doing that. That's the levels that we're expecting this season, and he was fantastic. That last half hour was excellent. It was the 60 minutes that came before it could have got football cancelled, but honestly, that last half hour was exceptional to watch, and yeah, the atmosphere in the stadium was great. And that's it, mate. Into the semi-finals now we go.
That's it, Regan. We're into semi-finals, and of course it's against Aberdeen, who are at the minute our title rivals.
I'm enjoying watching Aberdeen, David. I really am
enjoying watching them.
I've watched quite a lot of games. I've watched about four or five Aberdeen games. I really have. I've just enjoyed watching it. I think the managers are a breath of fresh air. It's going to be a difficult match, and I know people can say, well, they've not played anybody I know, but I mean, that's the only teams that he's been playing against. I mean, who else is he going to play against in the league? He's played against Motherwell. He's played against SPL teams that you would say are notoriously difficult for Scottish clubs, and he's managed to beat them. So I'm just glad that a fresh approach has actually worked in Scotland, because I'm sick of all these people going, oh well, we can just bring in
Craig Levine.
Craig Levine, or we can bring in I'm trying to think, but Tommy Wright. We can bring these guys in. They can steady the ship. Then we'll see how it goes. I mean, we've seen the ultimate steady the ship last year with Neil Warnock, and we've seen how that went. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, that was a pure publicity stunt if I've ever seen one.
Well, what will Hearts look to steady the ship? Craig Levine's looking for a job, Regan. Maybe he'll end up at the Jambos again.
See if he does, mate. I mean, that's quite like that. Regan said, like, it was a breath of fresh air that they went for this manager. Now, is that what we're going to expect from Hearts? Are they going to learn from what we've seen at Aberdeen? Now, this could just be a little bit of a flash in the pan for Aberdeen. It could just be the whole new manager, good fuel factor. But right now, it's lasted a lot longer than I think even that, to even consider it that. As you said, Regan, you've watched them. They're playing good football. They're even winning games, in the very last minute to keep their winning streak going. We would always say that's a sign of a real champion, champion side there. Winning when, digging deep and getting the last minute winner to keep it going. We'd always say that if it was Celtic. They're creating at the minute an exciting title challenge, but of course we're discussing whether they're going to be knocking us out of the cup. That's a little while away yet. Is it November, I believe?
We need to play them before then in the league. We play them in early October. When we come back to this international break, we've got them at Celtic Park. Then we'll play them at Hampden a few weeks later.
So we don't know what their form is going to be like by then. But at the minute, right now, they are certainly a threat. So we obviously have to be wary of that. But fair play. I think I'd have been happy with any of them, if I'm being honest. Just the way we're playing, there's no reason to fear anybody. Not that we would fear them anyway, but we wouldn't be wary. I don't want to face them. I think any of them will come at us, bro. Come at me.
I think if Celtic play that kind of ability, I think we'll clearly win this cup. So no, I don't think we should fear anybody.
No, absolutely not.
Right. Well, so the last time this was the semi-final lineup in the League Cup was 2017, and the two winners of the semi-finals were Celtic and Motherwell. 2017. It was Pedro Caixinha's last game at Rangers, I do believe. He got the tic-tac after that one.
I remember Louis Moult scored a belt.
Louis Moult. That was it. It was Louis Moult. Aye. So that was the last time the semi-final lineup in the League Cup was Celtic v Aberdeen and Motherwell against Rangers.
Oh, see that Aberdeen final, Phil? Was that when Ryan Christie scored the winner?
No, that's the final. That was the one we beat Motherwell in the final. But yeah, that was the last time we had the that lineup in the semi-final. So the Aberdeen final you're thinking about is a year later, because we've won the League Cup that many times in that space. So that was the Ryan Christie one, yeah. I know. We've played Aberdeen in a lot of finals in recent years as well, so they all kind of mould into one. Yeah, so.
Well, I'm just going to...
Yeah, anyway, we segued, but I realised I was on the hour anyway, David, so we may as well wrap it up, mate.
Well, I was trying to talk about Aberdeen. This is an Aberdeen podcast now. Right.
We'll beat them when we play them, it's fine.
We'll beat them, smash them. Fuck those guys.
I know.
Right. Anyway, we've just gone over the hour mark, so we'll wrap this up, Regan. All right. So of course, your usual Boys to Bus shows will be back on Thursday. You have the TNF, the Judge, and Boise. Sure, the Judge will have plenty to talk about and sink his teeth into. And of course, Friday Feeling will be back, Phil, as always.
Yeah, go St Johnston on Saturday evening kickoff at McDermott, 5:30. You might get a post-match piss, who knows? Yeah, maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. Just wait and see. It's fun. It's all part of the fun of being on the Boys Plus.
Exactly.
So so make sure you're subscribing and liking and sharing, then you'll know. All right. So take care, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next Tuesday to talk about the Champions League game. We'll find out if it's Kyogo or Adam Idah starting for the boys.
Right. See you then, folks.
See you.